Ukraine was never supposed to be alone. European partners promised they would stand by Ukraine. The United States offered all help that Ukraine would need. But when the time came, everyone abandoned Ukraine. It has been left to fend for itself. And that has exposed NATO for the duplicitous organization that it is. Hi and welcome. You're watching TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I'm your host Atul Mishra, and in this video I will enunciate how NATO remains an expensive yet ineffective organization as it fails to achieve its primary objective of protecting Europe. Let's begin. NATO is a headless chicken. It has been reduced into an insignificant entity which, when told to shut up by Russia, goes to a corner and quietly sits down, making sure to behave itself. It is quite remarkable how Ukraine thought this organization would come to its aid in the event of a large-scale Russian invasion. Hey, it's me, Atul. I started this channel. We started small, we went big. Suddenly, the Whitey police was after us. We dodged and ducked, but the algos got us really bad. So we designed our own app. It's free. We never asked for money, we never will. But the droid called us too sensitive and blocked us. We still have an Apple app. Join us and fast, because if you don't, we will cease to exist. Check out the link in the description. Leave alone military aid. NATO has not even been able to agree on a decisive economic sanctions package that would have an immediate effect on Moscow. Russia has invaded Ukraine. The world is outraged. The United States and its allies are angry. NATO is infuriated. But here is a ridiculously painful part. NATO can do nothing but mutely spectate as Russian President Vladimir Putin redefines Eastern Europe. Essentially, NATO has failed. It had one mandate to protect Europe, thus it has failed to achieve its primary objective, and this would have lasting consequences for the security alliance. NATO is an expensive yet useless organization that American taxpayers fund. The United States pays to keep Europe safe, but Europe buys billions of dollars worth of gas from Russia. So what does Joe Biden do? He refuses to sanction Russia's energy sector. On Thursday, Joe Biden announced a set of sweeping sanctions against Russia and Moscow's elite. Biden said his administration would stunt the Russian military's ability to finance and grow its force, freeze US assets held by Russian banks, target elites and members of Putin's inner circle, and curtail Russia's high-tech imports. But Biden left out Russia's energy sector, which in a way pretty much bankrolls Russia's economy. Why? Because the Biden administration and NATO merely want to appear to be taking on Russia, but in reality, they don't want to antagonize Moscow. What else explains European countries led by the likes of Italy, Germany, and others vetoing a proposal to ban Russia from using the SWIFT global interbank payments system? You see, data from the Bank of International Settlements, or the BIS, shows that European lenders hold the lion's share of the nearly $30 billion in foreign banks' exposure to Russia. Late on Thursday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky couldn't keep it to himself any longer. So in an address to Ukrainians, he lambasted European countries and other Western powers for making false promises. He said, "I have asked 27 European leaders whether Ukraine will be in NATO. Everyone is afraid. No one answers. NATO has abandoned Ukraine. Europe, which until recently referred to Ukraine as a compatriot, has failed to provide any substantial and meaningful aid to the country that is being invaded." Ukraine, by Zelensky's admission, is all alone. NATO is nowhere to be seen, and the United States is imposing convenient sanctions against Russia, which Moscow has grown immune against. The invasion of Ukraine has shown that Europe is not united. Every European country is keeping its interests above the supposed idea of protecting Europe as a whole. There is no cohesion among European nations, and Joe Biden's administration is simply clueless. The United Kingdom, meanwhile, is thanking its stars that it left Europe at the right time. But the larger message that this fiasco has sent out has not been lost on any country. Now, every European country knows that NATO, for all purposes, is a toothless tiger. The crisis in Eastern Europe will lay the foundation for the ultimate evaporation of North Atlantic Treaty Organization.